You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host, who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong, author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. This afternoon I have Dawn with me, and so I'm going to let Dawn take it away and have her story with all of you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dawn. I'm here in Seattle, Washington, a little bit of a hotbed of the coronavirus, but staying safe and healthy, mostly indoors. We are getting out with our little 4-year-old just in the neighborhood to get some fresh air. But a little bit of my story. So my husband and I were pastors for quite a few years. My husband for 25 years and myself for 7. Once we got married, I joined him in ministry, and we were in ministry in one community for 5 years together when the local leadership decided that we weren't doing a good enough job. They told us we were failures and a burden to the organization. And what followed after that was a demotion and a transfer. So our family actually had to move. We got different jobs, and the situation turned pretty abusive pretty fast. And so that began a personal development journey, really, that I fell into a deep depression at that time as a result of all that change and needing to put my daughter in childcare. And so that forced me to realize that, I could either continue to be a victim and be powerless in the situation, or I could change our lives around. And I chose the latter, thankfully. I'm so much happier now. It took a while, but basically I started Googling work from home options and found my way into entrepreneurship. I always say I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I didn't necessarily set out to start my own business. I just wanted to make money from home so that I could raise my daughter the way I wanted to raise her, instead of having somebody else raise her at a daycare center or something like that. So that started my journey into entrepreneurship. I became an affiliate marketer initially. And then after about a year of that, I wanted to do more. I realized that I could have more of an impact and more of an influence in people's lives starting my own business. And so I dabbled in a few different things before landing on copywriting and funnel building. And that's what I do for my clients now. I get them awesome results, usually within 24 to 48 hours, getting sales through online funnels, which is just an automated system to get leads and sales for many businesses. Doesn't have to be just an online business. Brick and mortar can use them too. But that's what I do now. I help people craft and shape their message in a way that is compelling to people without sounding salesy. And, I believe that selling is serving, and all of us have gifts to give the world. And I just help people explain that gift so that they can serve more people.
Yep, and that's awesome. And if your BFF had to write a book about you, what would the title be?
Oh man, that's a great question. What would the title be? I would say either compassion or others. That I think is my mission. And sometimes my greatest strength becomes my greatest weakness, in that I am always putting others before myself and doing whatever I can to help other people. I love it. I'm passionate about helping others, whether it's a family member, my daughter, or entrepreneurs now, or people in my ministry when I was a pastor. it lights me up, it brings me joy. But the challenge in that is that I also have to take care of myself, and sort of that old adage about remembering when you fly on a plane to put the oxygen mask on first before you help other people. It's more challenging for me to remember to do that and to do self-care and be disciplined in self-care, because I would just spend 24/7 helping other people.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you would. Sound like me. I would spend 24/7 helping other people if I didn't have a disability to contend with, a neurological disability to contend with. Gee, beast, this neurological disability teaches me a lot about self-care, but that's beside the point. And so, Dawn, what is your morning routine?
My morning routine is it morphs over time, but I like to include. I started learning about a morning routine by reading The Miracle Morning. So Hal Elrod teaches 6 different parts of your morning routine. I don't always hit all 6 every day. So that would be meditation, visualization, affirmations, scribing or journaling, exercise. I think I missed one in there, but so I don't hit all 6, like I said, but I try to do meditation, visualization, and affirmations at least as a minimum for my morning. It helps, especially having a little one. It helps me just to be at peace and start my day on the right foot rather than being reactive all day. I used to wake up to her waking up. So I'd have the monitor next to my head, and her crying in the morning would wake me up. And that was at the same time when I was telling you that I fell into a depression and was really struggling because of the situation at work and all of that. And when I decided that I needed to change, that's when I started implementing a morning routine. And I can see a difference when there are days where maybe I stay up too late and so I oversleep. I can tell a difference in how I feel and how I respond to her. So just taking that time, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, which I like to have more than that in the morning, but even if it's just a short bit of time to do a quick meditation and a little visualization for the future, and then reminding myself of affirmations, I've just seen such a massive difference in my day when I can take the time for that.
Well, you got to learn the hard way, and I'm sorry you had to learn the hard way.
I did, but you know what? It's the hard things that help us grow.
And
If we're always comfortable in life, we'll never do anything. So I actually often say that I'm grateful for being called a failure, because I would never be where I am today without that.
And so, what is your favorite book, and what is the title?
My favorite book. Oh my goodness, I have so many favorite books. I'll do a favorite within just the past year. I read so much. But my favorite book within the last year has probably been Jen Sincero's You're a Badass at Making Money. And I just love, if you've read any of her stuff, she's just really fun, really transparent and authentic. And I had a really bad money mindset, to be honest, coming into entrepreneurship and growing up. I didn't say we were necessarily poor growing up, but we didn't have a lot of money. My sister and I still laugh. We were given as a family 680 boxes of multi-grain Cheerios. We ate a lot of Cheerios as kids, and I'm very grateful for that time in my life. It was a simpler time because we didn't have a lot of money, but it taught me really what's important. And however, out of that, I had a very, very much scarcity mindset rather than abundance. So even as an adult, being a pastor, my husband and I were making about $2,700 a month combined income. So I mean, we got along fine, and we always had enough to eat and clothes and everything. It wasn't like we were in desperate shape, but we didn't have loads of abundance. I didn't function in a state of abundance all the time. I was very much scarcity minded. And so that has been a huge shift for me in becoming an entrepreneur and in helping other people realize just what's possible. And, especially right now with coronavirus and people being really in fear and panic mode. It has helped me a lot to work specifically on my money mindset. So that's a book that has made a lot of a difference in the past year that I read. But yeah, I could talk about books all day long. I love to read, and I'm always got something going on my nightstand.
Well, you guys, if you have access to Libby and Overdrive, which is the library's systems, go check out any of Jensen Chale's work. Go, also, if you have access to Audible, go check out my work because my work is on Audible too. It's also on Nook. It's also in the Apple bookstore, and yeah, please, go read the book, Jesus. And so, John, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I would actually love to know what like affirmation or phrase has helped you and guided you along your journey the most, or like life lesson that you've learned that continues to help motivate you and spur you on in life?
Well, I got my life lesson back in 2019, only in May, and I was a workaholic. I admit I'm still a little bit of a workaholic, but when it comes down to it, I like hanging out with my family and friends, and so people bring me joy. But the reason why I got my life lesson in May, as of May 19th, is because my dad died of a heart attack, and I landed up stopping, taking time for myself, being able to breathe, and then going back to work slowly but surely.
Like, what do you feel like motivates you to go on after suffering loss and realizing the workaholic? Was it like realizing the importance of relationships and making a difference in the world?
Um, I think, well, I also lost my mom in 2010, and it, I think it's realizing that life is too short. I finally realized that life is too short, and I need to stop and smell the roses more often.
Nice. Oh, that reminds me of my daughter. She always, like I mentioned, she's 4. And when we go on walks through the neighborhood, every single time she stops and she smells the daffodils and the tulips. And it's such a beautiful reminder to me because I certainly can relate to being a workaholic. Working 2 jobs, and as a pastor, we worked 24/7. Um, some days seemed like. So, and like I said, I am always doing things for others. So that is a beautiful reminder. Stop and smell the roses. And my daughter is great at reminding me to stop and slow down.
Mm. Kids will do that. Kids will do that, and and life will do that. When you hit rock bottom, you literally need to stop and smell the roses and then get back up. And then let's hope you don't hit rock bottom again, like I did. I 1 month
Right.
after my dad died, I hit rock bottom again, and I was able, with the support of my fan base slash friend slash my stepmom, I was able to pick myself back up, and I'm hoping that a year out I don't hit rock bottom again.
Yeah, for sure. It's a process. I lost my brother and my stepdad about 4 months apart, 10 years ago. This year is the 10-year anniversary of that. And so, similar experience where there's a rock bottom. And at that point, the only way is up if you choose to learn and grow from it.
Well, if you choose and learn to go from it, it will be 10 years in August. I lost my mom, so I've had 3 rock bottom moments in my life, and I hope not to get another one. But Don, where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of you if they choose to do so?
Yeah, you can find me. My website is donapuan.com, or where I hang out the most these days is on Instagram. So at Dawn it's DAWNAPUAN. So check me out on Instagram. I'd love to hang out with you there.
Yep. And you guys, if you want to follow Ask Win on Instagram, it's Ask Win, or mine is AskWin622 on Instagram, and hang out with Dawn and I on Instagram. And please don't hang out with me on Facebook because I have decided to take a social media detox off of Facebook. Instagram is fine, but off of because the media is way too much for me right now. So you guys can find me on Facebook. I just don't want to be hanging out there. But I appreciate everyone's support, and I appreciate Dawn spending her Saturday afternoon with me and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye, you guys. Bye, you
Bye
guys.
bye.
You just listened to Ask Win, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.